This tutorial will help you with strategies for sentence combining, which can be accomplished in the following ways. 1. You can share a word. 2. Insert a group of words, phrases, or clauses from one sentence into another sentence. Or 3. Combine two related sentences by using a connecting word or a subordinating conjunction. Today we're going to learn how to sentence combine by inserting groups of words. Often you can combine two related sentences by taking an entire group of words from one sentence and adding them to the other sentence. Some groups of words might include prepositional, appositive, and infinitive phrases. When the group of words is inserted, it adds detail to the information in the first sentence. Let's look at the difference in a phrase and a clause. A clause, whether independent or dependent, always contains a subject and verb. A phrase does not. For example, this dependent clause, although I enjoy eating pizza, begins with a subordinating conjunction, and then it's followed by a subject and verb. A phrase will never contain a subject and verb. Here are some examples of different types of phrases that you may encounter. The first one is a prepositional phrase. Throughout the day, I watched my favorite movies. Throughout the day is my prepositional phrase that begins with the preposition throughout and ends with the object, day. The next example is an infinitive phrase. To drive across the state, one must be fully prepared for emergencies. To drive across the state is my infinitive phrase. Notice that it has to followed by a verb drive. Together they function as an infinitive. And the last example is an appositive phrase. Frisky, my German Shepherd puppy, turned 2 years old today. Notice how the group of words, set off by commas, my German Shepherd puppy, identifies the noun before it. A puppy named Frisky. So my German Shepherd puppy is my appositive phrase. Notice how all the phrases above do not have verbs. Now that we've looked at the differences in phrases and clauses, let's analyze some sentences to see how we might eliminate repetitiveness or wordiness when combining them with phrases. Here's an example. The Native Americans fought for justice. They fought for justice throughout the 1960s. Now, look at the second sentence that begins with a pronoun. It replaces Native Americans and has the same verb as the first sentence, which is fought. The only part in the second sentence that is needed for sentence combining is the prepositional phrase, throughout the 1960s, and it can be combined with the first sentence to read, the Native Americans fought for justice throughout the 1960s. An appositive phrase is a noun or pronoun that usually follows another noun to identify or explain it. Sometimes the noun might be mentioned in one sentence, and the noun phrase that identifies it might be in the following sentence. If this occurs, you can combine the sentences to make it more concise. Here's an example. Dennis Banks was important to the American Indian movement. He was a strong movement leader in the United States. Now we have the second sentence that begins with the pronoun followed by a linking verb. So notice that pattern. The information that follows identifies who Dennis Banks is and belongs after his name in the first sentence. It should read, Dennis Banks, a strong movement leader in the United States, was important to the American Indian movement. The section that is combined creates an appositive phrase. After sentence combining, please be sure to read your sentence carefully, asking yourself the following questions. Is my new sentence clear? Does it make sense? Does it sound better than the two shorter sentences?